Hi, it's Jordan Teen 1, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make my second bracelet from the movie Inside Out. So this one features the characters Anger, there's Bing Bong, the elephant guy in the middle, and then Sadness at the bottom. So I already had done a previous bracelet, and I will show you the characters that were on that. So there's Fear, Disgust, and Joy. So for this one I used a total of 48 rows, and the bracelet measures just a little bit under 7 inches in length. So I've basically found that about every 7 rows equals an inch, give or take just a little bit. So to make your own bracelet, what you would do is measure the size of your wrist, and then you can either add or subtract rows in between the characters and on the ends to get your desired length, or you can always mix and match the characters in between the two different bracelets. To make your bracelet, you can use either the Alpha Loom or the full-size Rainbow Loom, or really you can use any loom that you're able to set the pins in a straight row. So I typically prefer to use the Alpha Loom, but since I showed the first bracelet on the Alpha Loom, and I know that not everybody has these, I'm going to show you the second bracelet on the Rainbow Loom. To make my bracelet, I used 25 dark green, 37 orange, 12 yellow, 41 red, 36 black, 34 white, 77 turquoise, 21 blue, 53 pink, and then 47 clear bands to tie the rows together. I'm going to be working with my loom in a horizontal position, and you can see that I've spaced out my blue base plates. I have the large one on the left and just a small one on the right, and that leaves me about 7 rows here, and then that allows my bracelet to grow down in between the rows. And as I've said, you want the pins to be in line with one another. I'm just going to start the bracelet with you just so you get the general concept of how to make this type of bracelet. So I'm going to place a section of the grid pattern in the upper left hand corner. And then as we work on each row, I'm going to have it highlighted. So we'll be using 7 bands for each row. So my first row I have my background color. So I have the dark green, but of course you can change it to any color you like. And you're just going to go from the bottom row to the next row up. We're really only using 2 rows of pins, and you do want to twist this, make a figure 8, and so you just need to do that for the very beginning. I only just loop it around one time. If you wanted to, you could do it more than that. It's a little bit harder to twist it more than once, but it makes it just a little bit tighter at the end. So you're just going to do this for all 7. And then you just need to push everything down. So you can use your hook, or a lot of times I like to use a credit card or a store card. I just happen to have a ruler in my hand from measuring the bracelet, so that's nice and skinny, so I'm just going to use that to push it down. Now in between every row you're going to have what I call a crossband. It's going to stretch along all 7 pins, and that's what's going to hold your rows together. So I typically use clear, but really you can use any color. You basically only see it on the sides. Maybe you can just see a hint of it in between the bands. And on the Rainbow Loom, it's a much longer stretch than it is on the Alpha Loom. So actually this one here I have kind of stretched out because it was from a bracelet that I took apart. But what you might want to do is just use your fingers and kind of stretch this apart just to give it a little bit more slack before you actually take it and put it on and stretch it, because you will find that it is a very long stretch. In row 2 I have another row of just my background. So this time they just go straight across, there's no twisting involved. And if you did want to make a shorter bracelet, these are the rows that you can eliminate. I think it's nice to have at least 1 row on the very end before you start your pattern. And then what you're going to do is take your hook, and you want the crossband to come off and into the middle, and then you just need to take the bottom rubber band and pull it over the top. So the nice thing when you have the alpha comb is you can do this all in just 2 steps, one for each side. But with the rainbow loom you just have to do your hook. So you do it on either side here, just the bottom. And you might want to take a second and just kind of make sure that these bands are in the middle, because when you pull it off of one side it kind of pulls to the other side that's still connected, and you just want to make sure that your bracelet isn't going to curve to one side. And then you need to take your bands and push everything down to the bottom, just to make room to add the next layer. And now I have my next crossband. And I should note, it doesn't really matter if you want to put it on the bottom row or the top, because it moves out into the middle regardless. But I like to just stay consistent, so I'm going to always be doing it on the bottom. In row 3, we're going to start the pattern of the top of Anger's head. So it's like in every other pattern here, with the orange on the 2nd, 4th, and 6th pins. So again, you want that crossband to come in the middle, and then it's just a matter of removing the bottom row. So again, repeat that on the opposite side here. And then once again, just going to push all of this down to the bottom. And then my next crossband. In row 4, we're continuing with the flame. So we have oranges and yellows. So it's a yellow on the 2nd and the 6th, and then the rest are orange. So really that's all there is to it. It's just a matter of following the color pattern for each row, and then just doing those clear bands, or really whatever color you want, for your cross bands in between. This one is looking like it wants to jump off there. So now I'm just removing the bottom. My next crossband. Row 5 is the last row that I'll do with you, and the pattern is all yellow. So what I'm going to do when I'm done this is I'm going to put the full grid pattern up. And I think since when it's vertical, the grid pattern actually is a little bit smaller to fit on the screen, I'm going to do a larger grid pattern of just the individual characters. So that way you can see it just a little bit better. So here is the full grid pattern, and like I said, I'll do the individual characters also, so I can make those a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see. So you can pause your video and complete your bracelet, and then I'll show you what to do to remove it from the loom. When you've finished your bracelet and you're ready to remove it from the loom, what you're going to do is take one row of bands and move them to the other. So I'm going to take my bottom row and just move them up to the top. So just take your time, try and make sure you don't let it slide off of your hook. Just setting it right on the top. And then you want to take the bottom row and move that band over the top. So you're just going to be left with one single band on each one of your pins. And then I'm going to push all of these down. I'm going to attempt to push them down. And now what I'm going to do is start over here on the right. I'm just going to take this band and move it over to the left. And then I'm going to reach down inside this upper band, push back, the bottom one comes up through and moves over. So I'm going to repeat that. The bottom one comes up through and over. And that's just going to link all of these bands together so you don't have any loose ones. And then to make your bracelet, you can use as many clips as you want to connect the ends. I feel like this almost is ready to slide off on me here. So here's my next ones moving over. And let me just release these a while because it's pulling so tightly. And the last one needs to come up through as well. That's going to be your only loose band. So you want to take a clip and put that on. And then you can remove the rest. And then everything should be linked together. So you want to take a second and sort of straighten these out. I hope that everyone loves their new Inside Out bracelets. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook. You can post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page. And please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, so that way you can stay up to date on my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to post your pictures and comments there too, and you can subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!